समय हमारे साथ उपस्थित सभी दर्शकों और भक्तों का मैं प्रेम एवं आशीर्वाद सहित स्वागत करता हूं। Today I'll continue to expand on spiritual activism. What I mean by the word spiritual activist, I think this is the best word which will suit me. And this is the best word which will suit all of you, because all of you are reflection of me. आज मैं आध्यात्मिक सक्रियता इस विषय पर अपना प्रवचन जारी रखूंगा। आध्यात्मिक सक्रियता ये शब्द ही मेरे लिए उचित है और मेरे सभी शिष्यों और भक्तों के लिए भी उचित है, क्योंकि अभी मेरे प्रतिबिंब है। Let me expand on this one word, spiritual activism. Spiritual activism means, please understand, actively understanding, analyzing, realizing, cognizing the way you look at the world itself through the spiritual frame. Get it? Get it? What is birth? Understand with spiritual cognition. What is life? Understand with spiritual cognition. What is death? Understand through the four tattvas. How you need to respond to every situation. Understand everything through the four tattvas. Whether it is birth, life, death, meditation, anger, dana, tapa, vairagya, maturity, growth, expansion, money, how to achieve money, relationships, what is relationships and how to achieve relationships. What is success and how to achieve success. Everything cognize with the four tattvas, with spiritual strength, spiritual understanding. For example, birth. The body which you are using, when it fell onto the planet Earth, that is first level of birth. One level of birth happened. Listen. When your body fell on the planet Earth, one level, one kind of birth has happened. When the first actual root pattern is experienced by you, next birth happened. Unfortunately, the first physical birth started with deep pain. Even the mental birth started with lack of integrity, because any root pattern you carry will not be in integrity with life. That is why you need to complete with it. When you complete the root pattern, that moment your birth as per the integrity starts. Integrity is born in you the moment you complete your root pattern. Listen, I am describing different types of births. When your body happens, it is physical birth. Actual, when your root pattern starts happening, it is birth of you. When you complete the root pattern, the actual conscious birth starts in you. Your conscious birth starts when you complete with your root patterns. When you decide to expand, authentic birth happens. When you start taking the responsibility, maturity happens. Each one of these are different levels of births. When you start enriching others, the divine being in you starts, is given birth. Listen, look at the whole thing. When your body is born, it is just physical birth, biological birth. There are millions, I can say even billions, see only biological birth and biological death. Over. That is why I tell you, blessed are the kids who are in the Gurukul, learn in the very young age what is the real birth. Real birth is not just you coming out of your mummy's tummy. It is physical birth, biological birth. That's all. That's all. When your root pattern starts, your mental birth starts. That is when your birth starts. When you find your root pattern and complete all the root patterns, that is when, understand, listen, get it. That is when your real birth in integrity starts. When you decide to grow, listen, there are some people who die just with the physical birth. There are some people, not some, I can say 1 more billion, dies just with the birth of the root pattern. Billions of people don't even have the knowledge about their root pattern. Just in that ignorance, they die. They die. They die in the ignorance. when you find your root pattern and complete with it, your conscious birth starts. Only when you complete with the root pattern, conscious birth starts. Millions die in this level itself. In the conscious birth, the integrity opens up. Understand? When you decide to grow, your authenticity is born. That is your authentic birth. Physical birth from mommy's tummy. Mental birth when the root pattern is born. When you complete with the root pattern, conscious birth. When you decide to expand, authentic birth. When you take the responsibility for the world, maturity happens in you. When you enrich others, divine being is born in you. The divine birth happens to you. I tell you, only the man who has seen all the 6 births will not have rebirth. Till you see the 6 births, you will continue to have rebirth. Anybody wants to go beyond rebirth should see all these 6 births. Physical birth, mental birth, conscious birth, authentic birth, maturity, and divine birth. Understand all these different levels of birth. In the coming inner awakening, I'll be working on all these births. That will be the unique importance of this inner awakening. Only when you have all the 6 births, you will not have a rebirth. I have seen some people die with a physical birth, some die with a mental birth, some die in conscious birth, some die with authentic birth, some die in maturity birth, some die after divine birth. Very few die after divine birth. Anybody dies after divine birth? No rebirth. The space of completion is what I call no rebirth. Don't have the life with incompletion. Life in incompletion is hell. Life in completion, life with completion is heaven. I tell you, in every level, looking at the life with 4 tattvas, living and enriching others, is spiritual activism. This is spiritual activism. If you are feeling depressed, handle it through 4 tattvas, not with medication, not even with meditation. even meditation is a kind of accepted medication. No. Even meditation is accepting your defeat, understanding you are powerless and asking for some help. Live with these four tattvas. No question of powerlessness. No powerlessness. आध्यात्मिक सक्रियता का अर्थ है सक्रिय रूप से विश्व को पहचानना, विश्लेषण करना, महसूस करना, पूरे विश्व को आध्यात्मिक ढांचे से देखना है। उदाहरण के रूप में आपका जन्म, जब आप अपने मूल विचार का पहले अनुभव किया, आपका दूसरा जन्म हुआ। दुर्भाग्य रूप से आपका पहला जन्म शारीरिक जन्म पीड़ा से उत्पन्न हुआ। कोई भी मूल विचार जीवन के साथ संपूर्ति में नहीं हो सकता है जब आपका मूल विचार, लिजन, जब आपका मूल विचार लिजन जन्म लेता है, वही आपका मानसिक जन्म है। केवल जब आप अपने मूल विचार के साथ पूर्णत लाते हैं, आपका सचेत जन्म होता है। करोड़ों लोग अपने मूल विचार के बारे में अनभिज्ञ है और इसे आगे बढ़ते भी नहीं। जब आप विस्तारित होने का निर्णय लेते हैं, आपका श्रद्धापूर्ण जन्म होता है। जब आप विश्व का उत्तरदायित्व उठाते हैं, आप में परिपक्वता का जन्म होता है। जब आप दूसरों को लाभान्वित करते हैं, आप में दिव्यता का जन्म होता है। इन सभी स्तरों पर जन्मों के बारे में समझिए। जब तक आप इन सभी स्तरों में जन्म लेंगे, तभी आप इस जन्म चक्र से बाहर आ जाएंगे। लिसन, right understanding about maturity. I tell you, the maturity my Gurukul kids carry, you can never imagine. In the world, so-called world, maturity is associated only to your cell phone and cigarette. If you can handle a cell phone, have an iPad and smoke or drug, you are considered to be the matured kid. I am shocked, even in Bangalore, high school kids are so freely able to have access to drugs. And if you don't do drug, you are not cool. You are not modern. Drug is considered, unfortunately, as symbol of maturity. Oh God, what happened to India? What happened to Bharat? Oh Bharat, maturity means ability to take the responsibility. Ability to take responsibility is maturity. Only my Gurukul kids know the real meaning for maturity. Maturity is becoming adult, a man, a woman, being ready to take the responsibility. I tell you, when you become physically matured, if you don't grow and get mentally matured, what is mental maturity? Ability to take the responsibility for others. If you don't allow the mental maturity to happen, I guarantee the physical maturity which happened in you will make you depressed, will put you in depression. It will lead you to so many other perversions. Searching here, there, here, there, here, there. Expecting different things from different places. Finally, you will fall into depression. ध्यान से सुनिए, आपके जीवन के सभी प्रश्नों का समाधान केवल इन 4 तत्वों द्वारा कीजिए, ना कि दवा से या ध्यान से भी। परिपक्वता का अर्थ है उत्तरदायित्व लेने की क्षमता। केवल मेरे गुरुकुल बच्चे ही सही मायने में परिपक्व है। Some people who are not matured enough were complaining why our Gurukul kids are taking the responsibility of other kids. The grown-up kids are expected to take responsibility of another one kid. I tell you, that will make the kids so alive. The kid who is taking responsibility of other kid will really grow because he will stop throwing all tantrum. Now he has to take care of another one tantrum. When you have to take care of another one tantrum, you become so aware. I tell you, when I started taking care of all my disciples, so much of growth has happened in me. So much of responsibility has happened in me. Life has happened in me. Yes. Maturity needs new definition. Death needs new understanding. Life needs new understanding. Joy needs new understanding. Success needs new understanding. Continuously through the Nitya satsang, I'll expand every day on different subjects and giving a new understanding through the 4 tattvas. If your root pattern starts, see, when the root pattern starts, that is the moment you feel yourself as an individual identity. If it starts in an accidental moment, your life will be an accident forever. It's an eternal accident. Till you complete with that root pattern, you will continue to have accidents in your life. मानसिक परिपक्वता का अर्थ है दूसरों के लिए उत्तरदायित्व उठाना। यदि आप में मानसिक परिपक्वता नहीं आती है तो आपकी शारीरिक परिपक्वता आपके जीवन में केवल बड़ी समस्या उत्पन्न करेगी। I tell you, become a spiritual activist. your life has reached its peak. You have realized it. You got it. You got it. Spiritual activist means every part of life, about everything, having right understanding through the four tattvas and enriching the world through the four tattvas. Paripakvata, Janam, Mrityu, Ananda, Safalta, इन सबकी नई परिभाषा हमें जाननी होगी. मैं लगातार हर दिन हमारे नित्य सत्संग के द्वारा इन सभी विषयों का नया अर्थ आपको इन चार तत्वों के आधार पर समझाऊंगा. Understand about birth. When your body happens, it is only physical birth. It is just physical birth. When your root pattern happens, it is only mental birth. When you complete with your root pattern, conscious birth starts. Only when you complete with your root pattern, you can be called as Dvija, reborn. Reborn, Dvija. It is conscious birth. When you decide to grow, expand, become authentic, your authentic birth starts. That is not enough. When you are ready to take the responsibility, responsibility for life, others, life and others, maturity happens to you. When you start enriching others, divine birth happens to you. See clearly, this is exactly the way you have to understand every dimension of life. Every dimension of life. Understanding and enriching others is spiritual activism. Again and again and again, I request every human being should become a spiritual activist, living it and enriching others. You living these spiritual truths and understandings and enriching others with this understanding. I've seen many times when my Gurukul kids take the elder kids take the responsibility of younger kids, immediately the amount of maturity, responsibility happens in them. That responsibility brings so much maturity. I tell you, the joyful childhood is matured childhood. You are matured, but you are in the body of a kid. That's the best life. Listen, many people write the history of golden childhood, glimpses of a golden childhood or golden childhood. No childhood is golden because they were immature when they were in the child body. When they are matured, they are already in the adult body. I lived a most matured life in a childhood body. I tell you, I have a real golden childhood. Golden childhood is child body, matured being. When a matured being lives in a child body, that's a golden childhood. You will be as innocent as kids, as enlightened as more than any adults. Matured being in a child body is a golden childhood. All other idea of golden childhood, look back. Actually, when you were a child, how were you? You were frightened about your student, your teacher. You were frightened about your hostel warden. You were frightened about your classmates. You were frightened about the bullying by other colleagues. Other friends or students. Then how can you call that as a golden childhood? And you are pulled and pushed, dragged by the small desires like a candy, a toy. You have so much of incompletions when you are a child. How can you call that as a golden childhood? No. Matured being in a child body is the golden childhood. That is golden childhood. I tell you, I had golden childhood. I am giving the authentic golden childhood to my kids in the Gurukul. जब आपका मूल विचार अचेत रूप से जन्म लेता है, आपका पूरा जीवन अचेत रूप में ही बीत जाएगा। केवल जब आप अपनी मूल विचार से पूर्णत्व लाएंगे, आप द्विजा कहला सकते हैं, क्योंकि तभी आपका सचेत जन्म होता है। दूसरों को समझना और उन्हें लाभान्वित करना ही आध्यात्मिक सक्रियता है। Even if you carry one powerlessness, your life cannot be called as golden. The normal kids have so many powerlessness. If you look back at your childhood, you had so many powerless moments. Then how can you call that as a golden childhood? No. It is only your fantasy. Your childhood becomes real golden childhood when it is full of powerful moments. No powerlessness. And I give this as a command to all my Gurukul kids. Understand? No powerlessness any moment of life. Okay? No powerlessness. Life should be full of energy and powerful. I request all the viewers, television viewers, and everyone decide to become spiritual activists. Decide to become a spiritual activist. No question of having powerless moments in the life. No question of powerless moments in the life. I tell you, we should really do a spiritual activism revolution. Revolution of spiritual activism. And I am going to lead. I am leading this revolution. My Sangha is the movement of spiritual revolution, spiritual activist revolution. बालपन में परिपक्व अस्तित्व होना ही सबसे सुनहरा बालपन है। मैं कहता हूं मैंने सर्वोत्तम सुनहरे बालपन का अनुभव किया है। मैं अपने गुरुकुल बच्चों को वही सुनहरा बालपन दे रहा हूं। जीवन के किसी भी क्षण में शक्तिहीनता का अनुभव ना करना, केवल शक्ति और ऊर्जा का अनुभव करना ही सुनहरा बालपन है। मैं सभी दर्शकों, भक्तों और शिष्यों से अनुरोध करता हूं कि आप सभी आध्यात्मिक सक्रियतावादी बने। मेरे संघ आध्यात्मिक सक्रियतावादी का क्रांतिकारी नेतृत्व करने के लिए ही जीवित है। The essence of all the spiritual literatures, Gita, Upanishads, Brahma Sutras, everything is just one word: become spiritual activist. That is the essence. Become a spiritual activist. Become a spiritual activist. सभी आध्यात्मिक शास्त्रों का सार केवल एक ही है: आध्यात्मिक सक्रियतावादी बनिए। Understand? If I make million people spiritual activist, I'll feel I've done what I want to do, what far I happened on the planet Earth. In everything, in everything, in everything. Look at every moment you are powerless through the four tattvas and understand with the spiritual clarity. I tell you, in every taluk, every village of India, we should create a spiritual activist community. In each city, town, taluk, village of India, we should gather people who are ready to become spiritual activists and create a sangha, community. People who are really interested in living the spiritual understanding and enrich others with the spiritual understanding. You can be a brahmachari, married, grihastha, or a sannyasi. This should be our goal, creating spiritual activists everywhere. Creating spiritual activists everywhere. In different parts of the world. Creating spiritual activists is my mission. This should be done. This is only one and only priority for all my followers and disciples. Understand, I am not saying this is your first priority. This is your only priority. Become a spiritual activist. Make more and more people spiritual activists. Everywhere we will dedicate our time, talent, treasure, life, everything to make spiritual activists who will live the spiritual truths, who will understand everything through the four principles of integrity, authenticity, responsibility and enriching, who will live through these four principles, who will enrich everyone through these four principles. Spiritual activism is our life breath. Spiritual activism is our lifestyle. Don't just go and continue your everyday routine life after listening to satsang. Go and start radiating. Reach out to people, enrich people. Every day come with the new methods to enrich people. Reach out to people. You wasted your whole life just listening, not moving. It is time, move. Unless you move, nothing can be done. This whole country should become spiritual activist country. The whole world, every human being should become spiritual activist. भारत के हर गांव, हर तालुक में हजारों आध्यात्मिक सक्रियवादी, आध्यात्मिक कर्मठ होने चाहिए. मेरे शिष्यों के लिए केवल एक ही प्राथमिकता है, आध्यात्मिक कर्मठ बनिए. It is not, I am not saying it is first priority to my disciples. I am saying it is only priority to my followers and disciples. Create more and more spiritual activists. This is the purpose. This is the purpose. Live these four tattvas. Make people live these four tattvas. Live these four tattvas. Make people live these four tattvas. Become a spiritual activist. हर मानव के जीवन का उद्देश्य है आध्यात्मिक कर्मठ बनना, तभी आप जीवन को असली रूप में जीवन लगेंगे, जीने लगेंगे। हमारे जीवन का एक ही लक्ष्य है कि हम हर जगह धरती के कोने कोने में आध्यात्मिक कर्मठ कार्यकर्ताओं का निर्माण करें। Every village, every town, every taluk, there are so many spiritual places created, not useful to society, or nobody is able to run. I request all my disciples, devotees, to approach the people who are holding those spiritual places like ashrams, temples, schools, goshalas. Request them, partner with them, make all those places active, alive, and make those places as a center for spiritual activism. Enrich people to be spiritual activists. Spiritual activist means who takes the oath of these four tattvas, four principles: living integrity, authenticity, responsibility, and enriching yourself and others. Whoever takes the oath of living these four principles is spiritual activist. And let us create thousands of temples, annalayas, goshalas, vidyalayas to spread spiritual activism as a spiritual activist centers. As a spiritual activist centers. Too much of time we spent in spiritual loneliness and aloneness. It is time we all wake up and enter into spiritual activism. आध्यात्मिक कर्मठ कार्यकर्ताओं है जो इन चार तत्वों संपूर्ण श्रद्धा, उत्तरदायित्व और लाभान्वित करना को जीने की शपथ लेता है। I want every healer, every disciple to become spiritual activist. every individual in this country should become a spiritual activist. That is the only way to raise this country. Understand, this country is not going to rise through political revolution. It is not even going to rise like so many fools are imagining, if you bring all the black money back, the country is going to rise. No. It is not even through the black money. Bringing the black money back. The fellows who are screaming about black money, they all built their organizations through black money. It is not even by bringing the black money back or any other socio-politico-economical revolution. India is going to lead the world only by spiritual activism. Only by the spiritual revolution. Only by spiritual revolution and spiritual activism. आज सत्संग का सारांश है, become a spiritual activist. Understand these four tattvas: integrity, authenticity, responsibility and enriching. Live them. Radiate them. Be a spiritual activist. Enrich others to be a spiritual activist. भारत राजनीतिक क्रांति से पुनः ऊपर नहीं आ सकता है। केवल आध्यात्मिक कर्मठता के द्वारा ही भारत पूरे विश्व का नेतृत्व कर सकता है। Spiritual activism is the only solution for all the diseases this country is suffering. The citizens of this country is suffering. The world is suffering. Spiritual activism is the medicine for all the diseases. The world is suffering. Understand, life, death, birth, power, energy, money, relationship, everything with this clarity of spiritual activism through four principles: live and radiate. That's the only solution.
Jivan mukti pradam devam kshama-purnam.
Paramahamsa Nithyananda is a rare living incarnation, a yogi by birth. He has been expressing his power of enlightenment since birth. He has authored more than 500 books in Tamil and English, books in Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam, Hindi, Sanskrit, Gujarati, Oriya, Bengali, Marathi, French, Malay, Polish, Portuguese, Italian, German, Danish, Spanish, Russian and Chinese, with translations in 26 languages are available. He is also an exemplary speaker with over 8,000 hours of profound life solutions through his discourses. Social services such as Annadan, free medical care, free educational services, ashrams, schools, temples, hospitals established in more than 140 places around the world offer exceptional services. A powerful spiritual healer who has healed millions of people of diseases from migraine to cancer. A Kriya Yogi who has formulated Kriyas for physical health and mental well-being, benefiting thousands. A living master who offers practical solutions for our everyday problems. Having meditation centers in 151 countries including Bidadi, Tiruvannamalai, Rajapalyam, Salem, Hyderabad, Varanasi, Los Angeles, Ohio, Seattle, San Jose and Phoenix. He is the founder and spiritual head of Nithyananda Dhyanapitham, a spiritual guru for 10 million followers, an incarnation who transmits the highest spiritual energy through initiation, a contemporary yogi who has revived the Vedic science of yoga worldwide through thousands of yoga centers. Adept in Ashtamahasiddhis, mystical yogic powers, he has effortlessly awakened the Kundalini of thousands, gracing them with spiritual powers. A spiritual powerhouse who has revived the sacred Vedic tradition by establishing Vedic temples worldwide in places like Los Angeles, San Jose, Seattle, Toronto, Ohio, Oklahoma, Phoenix, St. Louis, Malaysia, Brazil, Paris, Guadeloupe, Dallas, New York, New Jersey, Atlanta, Calgary, Vancouver, Singapore, and places like Bangalore, Hyderabad, and Tiruvannamalai in India. A dynamic young guru who is an inspiration to thousands of youngsters. India's most watched spiritual guru online. A beacon of spiritual light who has triumphed over the forces of religious terrorism and political persecution. Paramahamsa Nithyananda is an eternal Kalpataru, blessing the world with the boons of material abundance and spiritual enlightenment.
आनन्दानुभवास्वादं सर्वरोगनिवारकं वन्दे पापविनाशक्तं नित्यानन्दाय स्वागतं नित्यमुक्तं निर्विकल्पं ध्यानलोकप्रदीपकं वन्दे शान्तमयं बन्धं नित्यानन्दाय स्वागतम् आनन्दगन्धसञ्चारं सर्वोपाधिविनिर्मुक्तं वन्दे ज्ञानालयं नाथं नित्यानन्दाय स्वागतम्.
Let you all achieve, experience, live, express, radiate, share and explode in eternal bliss. Nithyananda.
Nithyananda Dhyanapitham, Nithyananda Nagar, off Mysore Road, Bidadi, Bengaluru. Phone 08027279999. www.nithyananda.org. www.youtube.com/Life Bliss Foundation.